Hello all, Janessa here, ready to share some knowledge of all the important things about and related to our industry. Excited to be here, coming at you with this month's vlog. Casinos, casinos, casinos. It seems nowadays you'd be hard-pressed not to have one of these big boxes of fun right in your own backyard. Times have changed over the years, and the notion of having to fly out to Vegas for the weekend of gratuitous fun is long gone. These things are seemingly everywhere now. According to my new favorite website, Statista.com, there are over 1,500 gaming establishments like this one here all over the US. With this many casinos, it's starting to make you wonder, is there enough gaming really to go around? Way back a long time ago, when things were in black and white, dealers seemed as though they had a revolving door of endless players to deal to. With Vegas being literally the only game in town, there was never a need to have all the fluff that we have nowadays. You were able just to come to work, dummy up and deal, and every now and then, endure the threats of a few hot-headed floors.
Bust. Everyone wins.
Yes. If you do that again, I'm going to take you out back, I'm going to break your legs.
But in the 90s, that all changed. See, Vegas was no longer the only game in town, and with tribal casinos and riverboats popping up everywhere, they started to put the hurt on Vegas. I mean, really bad. By 1992 alone, they were already down about $500 million in revenue. With Vegas taking such a huge hit, casinos did whatever they could to differentiate themselves from the new up-and-comers by spending almost $12 billion in refacing the Strip's image, all for the sake of trying to make Vegas a family vacation destination.
Bust. Everyone wins. Excuse me, miss, can I hold that for you?
From roller coasters to child-friendly shows, it seems as though every aspect of the Vegas experience was now boasting this new kid-friendly attitude.
Daddy, you won!
Yes! But Janessa, you ask, why does that even matter? That's something that happened way back in the 90s and it doesn't really affect us. Well, guess what? It does. The same thing is happening right now. Take Atlantic City, for example. That place is just getting obliterated by all the casinos that are popping up everywhere around it. Pennsylvania alone has taken thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in revenue from it. And the irony behind that is Ohio and Maryland are doing the same thing to Pennsylvania. It's putting the pressure on it. We are all suffering from this oversaturated market. Let me break it to you down this way. Casinos make money. The owners know that. The investors know that. Hell, even the players who come into our establishments know that. That's why everyone wants a piece of the action. And it's not just a problem here domestically with oversaturation. Markets like in Japan are trying to push for legalization of gambling in their areas too. Their reasons? Well, they're saying that in 2020, with the Olympics going there, it's going to be a big drive for the economy. But what's going to happen after the Olympics is done and gone? Well, that market's going to start getting all that share that places like Macau or Monte Carlo used to get, not to mention all the other little hubs that are peppered all over the area. Market saturation is starting to become an issue for everyone. See, even though gaming has been expanding dramatically over the last 20 years, states are not just getting into it for a quick cash grab. They're doing it out of desperation, trying to keep the revenue within their state borders and keeping it from escaping out of it and going somewhere else. Well, yeah, it's nice to have a casino right down the street from you. Players are being dispersed, and a once lucrative dealing job has turned into standing around, playing the waiting game. So now it seems as though we're on a second wave of reinvention. Casinos everywhere are trying to reinvent themselves in a way kind of like Vegas did back in the 90s, all just to try to stay ahead of the curve and outdo one another. So even though they're doing this copycat thing where they're trying to do what Vegas did back in the 90s and change things up, they're also trying to avoid the same mistakes that Vegas did back then. Well, hell, even Vegas is trying to avoid the same mistakes they did. And that's why Vegas has reinvented itself in the old ways. They're relaunching all their raunchy pits and raunchy shows, and I'm surprised I haven't even seen a raunchy burger come out. Heck, I was there last year and it just seemed like everywhere you went, it was sex, 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 sex. Which, you know, in my opinion, is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Vegas was always the adult playground. It should always stay that way. That's what Vegas was. You go there and you have a great time. You leave the kids at home and you just go out there and let loose. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what you're paying for. And I think we need a place like that. Vegas is world renowned for that. And well, hell, why ruin a good thing? While the industry does seem to be returning to its roots, we still run into the problem with oversaturation. In an interview that I had with Sina Sharp, author of Competitive Intelligence Advantage and proprietor of the marketing agency Sharp Market Intelligence, she does provide some hope while expressing, "I think it's a market that still attracts customers, but not necessarily the same customers, nor the same games, ambiance, etc. Millennials represent more than 50% of the workforce today, growing to 75% by 2020, just a few years ahead." So yes, millennials, we're really screwing it up for this industry. With all the technological advances that we've grown up with throughout the years, pulling a lever or pushing a simple button just ain't cutting it anymore. See, casinos know this, and they're doing whatever they can to try to keep up with the times, or at least keep us entertained. By introducing new skill-based machines, they're hoping that we'll be more inclined to play, and maybe spend a little bit extra money there than we would, say, if we went out to a club. And on that note, they're even changing up their whole venue entirely by trying to establish themselves as an entertainment hub. So you could go and get your dance on, you could go and sing at a karaoke bar, or you could, again, try those skill-based machines. Whatever they can to keep us there. But is it going to work? These ideas may be great. However, because of the changing demographics, Ms. Sharp warns, while casinos may want to court millennials, they have to also cater to their core market, even if they are declining. These issues faced by the casinos are very similar to many other industries. At the moment, we are stuck with not only market oversaturation, but we are smack dab in the middle of this generational transition. Casinos are doing whatever they can to implement these wide array of concepts and ideas in a hopes that they just please everyone. And ho ho ho, is this irony at its finest. See, even with all this market research, lessons from the past, and ideas for the future, casinos are still being put in this position to effectively gamble with all these new initiatives. Essentially throwing anything and everything at the wall and going with whatever sticks.
Looks like another gaming infraction for Vad. This is the third one for him this month. Oh, good. That should be Lynn from marketing.
Come on in.
Hello? Hey, Avery. What's up, Reggie?
It's Reginald, and nothing is up.
Sorry, Reginald. Meathead.
I was told you have the latest ideas from your department for us to go over.
Yes, I do. With all the changes happening in the industry, we've come up with a more creative way to take all the guesswork out of which concept our casino will be implementing this year.
Well, we've wasted enough time waiting on your department. I have a break to get to.
Knowing how fickle things have been with our existing and changing clientele, these are what our researchers have narrowed our choices down to.
So you're telling me your department has yet to actually figure out what we're doing?
Listen up, all biggie nose smalls. That is what this is for.
Spaghetti? This is what you geniuses come up with? Are you freaking kidding me?
Can it, Albert Einstein, stupid? Well, Tumbo, our research has found that when spaghetti is thrown at the wall, it has the ability to make the best predictions. Wow, this is sticky. Well, as long as Fat Gannon over here doesn't eat it all first. And we have our winner.
So how's this all going to end? Really? I couldn't tell you. I'm no mathematical mathematician or anything, but if I could take a crack at it, it's going to be eventual market equilibrium. See, there's only so much money that these casinos could squeeze out of the people that walk into their joint. And no matter how many times they change up their venue or what they do to their entertainment lineup, there's only so much. The people at Statista.com took a crack at trying to figure out what revenue is going to look like for casinos in the year 2020, and guess what? Their findings only support my theory. It's going to level out. And even though casinos are popping up all over the place, it doesn't mean that there's a big cash grab to get from it. It just means they're spreading the money that's already there even thinner. Anyone who's been in this industry as long as I have, which really has only been about 12 years, can tell you that way back then, there's more people to deal to. It isn't because these players died off or anything happened to them. It just means that a casino is probably built closer to where they live. And anyone who hasn't experienced that, that's probably because you're in a very isolated market. But eventually, that might not be the case. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sell you all doom and gloom over here. I like to think that the casinos have at least identified that there is an issue. And while not all of them are going to do it right, I think we should be grateful that we're in an industry that isn't afraid to try, despite what was and what eventually will be. From the days of old,
Hey, yous! Why don't you and your pals come here and play a game?
to playing full house rather than dealing them.
Dang it, kid! Your parents are just a minute!
To getting back to the more raunchier roots of Vegas.
Really?
That's all I have to say about this month's topic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And in case you forgot, I'm Janessa, and remember, Dill on Dillas.